exclusive domain for technical people. In the 70s and the 80s, it was a very specialized niche for individuals, exclusive domain for technical people. In the 70s, so in today's world, life has taught all of us that artificial intelligence and in fact technology is too important a field to be left just for individuals that are technical. I'll say this slowly. From our results and our various studies, it's very clear that artificial intelligence and related technology is just too important for us to leave to technical people. So the so-called non-technical people have to be involved in it, or what I will say, general purpose. That's what it is now. General purpose is what AI is. It's like a musical instrument, literally. So it's like a musical set. Literally, you do not need to be a specialist music technologist to get and to understand what life is when it comes to the issue of AI, because it now affects all of us. Let me just get hold of Isaac. Isaac, are you able to unmute? Isaac is joining us from the States, up in New Jersey, while we are here in the comfort of London. I just wanted to see if we are able to see, if we were able to make him a co-host. He may be able to share some things with us later. But if not, we'll ride on. We'll go on and I share the slides and then let the people understand the fundamental truth about this technology that we call new, which has been around for quite some people say for a few weeks, others will say a few years. So as we are getting into the meat of this, we need to know the truth about artificial intelligence. The slide in front of us confronts us with 4 definite questions that we have to answer. And honestly explore. Number 1, can you retrieve verbal testimonies from 3 years ago in 60 seconds? Verbal testimony, people that have had recordings and what we used to call the old cassette. Old cassette, you can have it from 3 years ago was made. 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Are you able to retrieve that audio in just 60 seconds? Good question for us to ponder about and to understand as legislators. And as leaders, we attend meetings and the meetings are recorded. Of course, as legislators, we debate all the time. We discuss all the time when we are doing. How are we able to stop that? And then what percentage of paid talent today is doing any donkey work? That is the we allocate tasks and work to individuals we hire. And what percentage of that is spent doing this type of work? Or essentially, how much of strategic work do we do? So there's going to be an explosion now in the number of people doing strategic work, because most of the European work, not in the 70s and the 80s, we were able to have what they call copy typists, individuals that were trained to listen to executives, practitioners, and professionals and extract what they were thinking and wrote it. It's been there since time immemorial. They were called scribes. They write down what their principal have in mind to say to people. It's a key question. We need to answer that. If we don't answer that, the journey won't even start. Then how do you resolve the simple case of a multi-million-dollar reputational nightmare? Now, how do you find the verbal truth in a 2-year-old record? You ask yourself that question. What comes to mind is translation. What comes to mind is transcription, if it's a different number. Translation, if it's a different language, and transcription, if it's the same language. So we need to understand that, and that's why instant memory comes in with Firefly. So it's an undeniable fact that the use of technology is almost as miraculous as a pure miracle. That means it's beyond the ordinary and goes at a scale that is so steep that you've got to know the movement and understand why it moves the way it does. The key technology I've been spending a lot of time on today is the one that is colloquially called transcription machines. And a sample of that is Firefly. I say colloquially because Firefly also searches, is a searchable audit trail. And if you know the percentage of time we spend going through this, 80% of admin time is spent on this. What we need you to move to is do 100% of decision tracking. Then there is the second thing that most people would have seen on my LinkedIn page, which just happens to be Keith.ai. I know most of you have heard the debate in popular press saying, should students use AI or should students shy away from AI because you want to be original? I want to say, I want to be original too. As a lecturer, as a teacher, I need to be original too. In order to be original, I need to interact with my students more. And therefore, the time I spend marking scripts have to be classified as mundane. When you mark the student's work, that's mundane work. And Keith is a great example that can just take 500 pages and in minutes it's completely ready. The accuracy is 95%. So when we're looking at legislative draftings, we can use that not just to mark scripts. When we're revising legislative draftings, we can use that, provided we give it the parameters we want it to work with. And the last but not the least, I'm hoping that at the end, I'm able to sufficiently demonstrate to you that manual inaccuracies, what you do physically with your hand or with your legs or with your eyes, doing things manually, cost the global economy $3 trillion. Can you imagine that? We just put $3 trillion into the waste baskets every year. That makes us the most prodigal generation ever on the planet Earth. And there's 40% revenue leakage in the resource sector. So that's why we're inviting all of us here to join a very quiet revolution of the tech conditioning game called Aceton.ai. So Aceton.ai, I know most of you is also that thing there, as if the apostles.ai. I hope you are able to sign up, get our newsletters, and if you do nothing at all, listen to what is happening now in the marketplace, understand what's happening now, and then move things across. So I'm just going to make sure that everyone follows up on that. I'm going to move the slide. Let me demonstrate what Fireflies is able to do. Hey, Fireflies. Please summarize what we've discussed so far in English as spoken by people that live in London.
Prof. Chris Imafidon discussed how AI is a general-purpose tool for leaders, not just technical people. Key topics included AI's ability to retrieve audio records, transcription technology like Fireflies for audit trails, and tools like Keith.ai for document review. He emphasized manual errors cost the global economy $3 trillion annually and invited everyone to join the AI revolution at acetone.ai.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be very honest with you. Can you please tell me whether or not that is an accurate summary of what we discussed so far? Those of you that believe it's an accurate summary, please lift up your left hand, left hand, left hand. If you believe it's accurate, wow, almost everyone. Now we're going to go on to the next level. We're going to demonstrate to you that that summary can be heard by our colleagues in the room and those on Zoom, and those of you on Instagram, if you're on Twitter Spaces, those of you on TikTok and Facebook or YouTube. Please, I need you to go there now and write the word translate. As I use a voice to prompt Fireflies to give us a translation in German. Hey, Fireflies. Would you please summarize what we've discussed so far, but in French, spoken by the inhabitants of Paris?
You've discussed how AI is a general-purpose tool essential for leaders and legislators, not just technical experts. Topics covered included audio retrieval, transcription technology like Fireflies for audit trails, Keith.ai for document review, and how manual errors cost the global economy $3 trillion annually. You're inviting everyone to join the AI revolution at acetone.ai.
Okay, so what Okay, so what we've just seen now is a demonstration of Fireflies. So, but now I'm going to prompt it for those of you that are listening in German. I need to be able to demonstrate to you that it's able to, yes, you guess it, speak German. Okay. Hey, Fireflies. Please translate what we've discussed so far in German.
Professor Imafidon hat diskutiert, wie KI ein universelles Werkzeug für Führungskräfte und Gesetzgeber ist, nicht nur für technische Experten. Themen waren Audienabruf, Transkriptionstechnologie wie Fireflies für Audit Trails und Keith.ai für Dokumentenüberprüfung. Manuelle Fehler kosten die globale Wirtschaft jährlich $3 Billionen. Sie laden alle ein, sich der KI-Revolution bei Acetone.ai anzuschließen.
So you can see that it looks as if there's an overlap. We might need to send one Fireflies to bed and one stays on. I think we have double Firefly, but that's great. That's a great experiment. We've just done that. So now we already know some facts. Right now, we know some facts about what we're going to learn today. So we set the four pillars that hold this building, and what we're supposed to also have here is something that most people have ignored over the years. Understanding the economic consequences. What is the economic consequences of really using this technology? How much does it cost us as one generation to deploy tech, particularly AI tech? Listen to this. This figure was not plucked from MTN. From the latest data we've got and the information we've analyzed, it is self-evident now that tech or lack of using tech has direct economic consequences. Listen to this. Tech, if you use it, there is a financial consequence. Tech, if you don't use it, there is a financial consequence. But when you look at artificial intelligence, the consequence in terms of dollar is $15 trillion. That's what essentially you're looking at on a global basis. $15 trillion. For those of you that are unfamiliar with my work, I'm Professor Imafidon. I've had the privilege of being able to serve as a non-executive director at the Isaton group of companies that has worked with governmental clients in Africa, governments in Europe, including that of the UK, and government in the US, in the US government. Isaton has had experience of acting as a consulting firm in technology over a 40-year period. So we are not, Aceton is a worldwide enterprise that has worked on that. Alongside that, I also have the honor of serving as the chair of the Excellence in Education. The media, for want of a better word, describe me, those of you that have also read some of the media, and if you believe them, if you have time to believe them, because I do not believe anything more than 35% of what the media says. Because of the idea of getting headlines in our newspapers. I brought this morning for everybody to be able to see. You see, I was trying to share with you. It said, drive less to save on fuel as oil prices soar. And when you get to also, you think that the percentage increase is another 100-fold or 200-fold. When you read it, then you find out that it's a sensational headline to attract your attention. That's what newspapers do. And largely that's what most of the media will do that. So if you're interested in facts, you go and do your research. If you're interested in entertainment, read the newspaper. Let me say this slowly. The media is more interested in entertaining you and getting your attention than educating you. You got to pay for your education. We've had the wonderful opportunity in life to serve as a tech governance advisor to various institutions, especially charitable institutions, educational institutions, health-based institutions, and even banking institutions. We have had, as stated in our introduction, the good fortune of being able to exceed what was in the Guinness Book of Records. So, multiple Guinness record holder and the patriarch. That's what Silicon Valley says, patriarch of the world's greatest family. We'll come back to that much later. Just want to move things forward. I just want us to pay some condolence and observe a minute of silence at the end for someone I can honestly say has influenced everything I've done since 1994. it was the academic year 1993/1994. Had a privilege of being invited by Georgetown University in DC. And guess who I met on that a trip, thanks to Benice. Benice was then my co-host in West Virginia and was a staff captain here. And I had a chance to meet him with the then shadow. He was a shadow senator for the District of Columbia, the then Reverend J.C. Jackson. We had a discussion, interaction that redefined the boundaries of what I could do as an individual. And he always had this fatherly element of encouragement and sometimes rebuke, but most times pushing you forward, trying to get the least in our society to think more about themselves. That's part of the reason. That's what gave birth to my enthusiastic support for the Prince's Trust, then as it was called, which now morphed to the King's Trust. If you are unfamiliar with the work of King's Trust, that it works with inner city kids who have either given up on education or training or business. And the Prince of Wales then, as he was, didn't need to set up a charitable trust in the inner city. That's the reason why I respect him. He did that out of his own volition. He did that out of his own personal contribution. Personal. He took his entire pension given to him when he retired from the military. And instead of buying a car, like most young people do, or investing in something on it, he took it and invested it in the poor, the inner city. So that's the King's Trust, the Prince used to be the Prince's Trust. And if you're keen in supporting it, please scan the QR code. We've got 3 QR codes there. Scan the QR code during the break. And if you want more questions, more ways you can support the very laudable work that the then Prince Charles, who is now King Charles III, does, I will give you the links and I invite you to events. And you're open, you're welcome. We have open arms for you to participate in the next set of events for the Prince's Trust. So enough of that now. Let's come back to the question that's on everybody's mind. Do you want to lead or do you want to be led? As legislators and leaders, you have already made that decision by putting your head above the parapet to be a legislator. You want to be a leader. That's what it means. You want to be the first to do something. That's what leadership is. You are not afraid to experiment and explore. That's what the demand of leadership is. So today, the question I want you to ask yourself quietly, you don't need to say the answer, is, will I be the architect of the coming transformation with AI, or am I going to be a casualty? I said before, the estimated value of what AI contributes to global economy is 15.7 trillion to be exact dollars, according to PwC. So it's not my personal opinion, please. This is not a technology company. This is an accounting, audit, finance, call it whatever you want, company. So it's not technology. It's able to give us this. So in the next few minutes, I need to be able to show you what we've done over 4 decades and demonstrate how AI is now a strategic weapon, no longer a tool. And those of you that are afraid of AI are afraid of AI because you haven't familiarized yourself with the development. So we're able to give you a practical framework that aligns people with profit and with plan. So it saves the environment, it saves you money, and it saves you time. Would you want to ignore that? What reason would you give yourself to be able to ignore that? So let's start with the genesis. How did it start? What was it? How did our relationship, personal relationship with it really start? We were lucky to have met a few people that are working on expert systems in 1988 and shared with us how expert system could help train young clinicians in differential diagnosis. That means two things that look exactly the same, they are not the same disease. So they present the same symptoms like coughing and coughing. And cough may be a product of one thing which is very minor and easy to overcome, or something far more simple and serious. So that's what you call expert system then. Please write down expert system. We're going to come back and discuss that later. And then comes an application of fundamentals of mathematics to be able to work that out. And with that, able to develop what was called then intelligent softwares. Like those of you that have ever used DLR will understand what I'm talking about. The DLR does not have any drivers, doesn't have any drivers. Yes. If we told you what it was, then you just say, oh, no, I'm not getting to it. So the whole world was told is software. Just like the software then I was able to operate your bank, so you understood that. But in April 2008, I had the distinct privilege of meeting a gentleman called ADE at the Trinity, who came in and said he was only working on artificial neural networks for his PhD. That was in London. And I asked him a follow-up question that persuaded me that he had an idea of what he was talking about. You can read the whole discussion, the paper that resulted from it, in a peer-reviewed journal called the International Journal of Advanced Research in AI, published in the year 2010, but appeared for publication in 2011. They gave us information that it was going to publish in 2010 and it appeared in print in 2011. So you know when the journey started. And at the end of 2011, I was then involved with excellence in education, and we deployed for the first time educational, and we were able to teach students not just the fundamentals of advanced mathematics, the whole of advanced and applied mathematics, compressed to 9 weeks instead of 5 years. I'll say this slowly again. The use of AI-based tool or neural network-based tool gave an accelerated learning advantage to students in London in 2011. I shared some of the emails and exchanges on that. And then the world got excited when the news of the results came that a 6-year-old was able to write the same exam as a 16 and 17-year-old. And then the 6-year-old scored more marks than 300,000 individuals that were 17-year-old. So this is why I talk about sensation, about sensation online. And it is very fitting, therefore, for one to have expected interest from Beijing to Benin to Bangalore, because the media went crazy. And what we didn't have time to discuss, and I think with the public now, and then we have time to share now in a book on AI governance. We'll share in great detail and be able to show you that all the fears you have about AI is down to one word: governance. If you're able to get great regulation and governance, you will get best return. If you are not, then it becomes a wild west. The safety then becomes more problem. Yes, I've used this word to word AI over and over again in the conversation. I think it's best now that I define it as we supposedly define. Please, AI is not artificial. There is nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. No. You can take this to the bank. Let me give you the clear definition of AI. After all these years, I've come to a clear realization of what it is. Like night and day. Like the word A in AI stands for achieving, and I stands for impossibilities. So AI is the application of a body of knowledge gifted to this generation to accomplish effortlessly what previous generations thought was impossible. So AI stands for achieving impossibilities and not artificial intelligence, because I know nothing artificial about this intelligence. I know nothing is artificial about the results or the impact you get. It's not fake, it's real. That's what the word artificial is associated with fake, it's real. AI isn't just code. Most of people have heard about machine learning and it's code and data. No, it's much more than that. AI is your silent partner in wealth creation, turning your everyday post into profit pipeline by predicting what your audience really craves before you do it. I need to put this down because you won't see this in any textbook, guaranteed. Most of the most good writers very limited experience. They've not participated in this journey, but that's fine. That's okay. So you use AI to forge unbreakable bond and scan through data, suggesting more connections, and then you convert followers into lifetime and lifelong clients, and that's your income gone up by 300% overnight. And if you're able to tie social media with it, social media, please, is not for kids. Social media is not viral video of the cars crashing the wall. This is what social media is. Let me show you what social media is. Social media apps and platforms is a tool of the 21st century. The most powerful tool of the 21st century for instant connection, communication, and collaboration across continents, not just your continent, and community. It is where influence, currency, and connection is capital. Part of that was in the book we published in the year 2012, Marketing Undergraduate Standard Texts. I'm not asking you to get it, I'll give to you free. If you're able to join this hackathon, I think I will give to you for free. It's my gift to you for enjoying this discussion. And knowing that leadership requires risk. Leadership calls you onto higher ground. And leadership tells you be bold. So what are you afraid of? So as we midway through, let me ask you some questions today. Let's ask ourselves some questions. Please raise your hand if you really believe that AI is going to replace or fundamentally reshape. Even though it will replace humans, put up your hand. Thank you. Thank you. If you know it will reshape, I mean radically change, please put up your hand. Great, thank you. Okay. The second question, do you believe, this is very careful, do you believe that AI used intelligently, use the AI intelligently, can A, boost your profit, B, bless the planet, and C, empower your people? The first one, A, thank you. Profitability goes up. That's right. The performance also goes up. And what we did, what we spent so much energy and effort in, it has ecological as well as economic consequences. So the last question, do you think AI can make you or your son, this is the extent of that profitability, a billionaire? Billionaire. Thank you. Thank you for your audience and thank you for your attention. Because your answer will shape the next 45 minutes and therefore go on the next 45 days and 45 years of your life. You will do things that you never thought was possible if you answer one way or the other. Let's go back and test our file that is attending this meeting. An AI app that we've used and we tried and we experimented with over the years. Let's go. Let's see. Hey, Fireflies. Please summarize for our audience in English the discussion so far. Thank you.
Prof. Imafidon discussed AI as a general-purpose leadership tool with $15.7 trillion global economic value. Topics included transcription technology, Keith.ai for document review, and how AI stands for achieving impossibilities. He shared case studies showing AI's educational impact, emphasizing that proper governance addresses AI fears, and invited audience participation in the AI revolution.
So those of you that have taken notes, I want you to cross-check your notes with the synopsis that's been given to us by our AI, who happen to be attending the class with us today, taking notes and ready to give us summary. But now we're taking to the next level. Transcription is one thing, translation is another. So let's prompt it with my voice. Hey, Fireflies. Please give us a summary of what we discussed so far in Spanish, as spoken by the people in Barcelona.
Prof. Imafidon discutió cómo la IA es una herramienta de propósito general esencial para líderes y legisladores, no solo expertos técnicos. Los temas cubiertos incluyeron recuperación de audio, tecnología de transcripción como Fireflies para auditorías, Keith.ai para revisión de documentos. Explicó que la IA significa lograr lo imposible y compartió casos de estudio mostrando el impacto educativo. Enfatizó que la gobernanza adecuada aborda los miedos sobre ella con un valor económico grow de 15.7 billones.
So what must we do now is a function of what we know. We're just resolving a particular problem. Okay. What we might need to do is just reduce the volume. Yeah. I think we are able to get the volume of the conversation Okay, here is the volume. Here is the volume. Let's put the volume here. Let's get this in the good. So now seem to have lost this slide. I think the slide is going to come on in a minute. So the HDMI is still connected. Good. I think. Oh. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Let's move this volume on the other side, and we'll probably just restart it. Okay, so this is essentially what happens now. F5. Here we go. So we're going to run as fast as we can to be able to pick everything up here. Here's the other slide now. So thank you for that. I hope you're able to still to hear me. So now, if you have the courage of your conviction and you sign up with us today, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitter, doesn't matter. Whether on your YouTube, those of you on YouTube, go to the comment section right now and type the word Isaac-tone. Those of you on YouTube, Isaac-tone. Those of you on Facebook, Isaac-tone, go to the comment section. If you're on Instagram, please type Isaac-tone. Why? Because we have a gift for you that exceeds the 21% that is advertised publicly. And I'm going to give you details if you wait until the very end. And some of you wonder in the mind, and rightly so, what is this thing really called? How do we get to this mountain top? How can we climb high? Simple, very simple. We've always believed that logic is the basis of everything. Always. So the core idea was that intelligence is something that is based on rules. It's a rule-based logic. So you make a rule, and if you follow those, then you're able to say, yeah, that's great. We can get the result. So our early computing was built around mathematical logic because we saw the brain as an information processor. Good example is, you say, how old are you? So you take the date of birth, and then you take today's date, and you do a subtraction, and say the difference is as to age. So you are processing data to answer that question. Meanwhile, other people store their age in their brain. You say, how old are you? Say 7 years old. How old are you? 9 years old. 99 years old. So that's storage. That's not processing. And the debate or the discussion of how the brain really works was saying information processing. Until there was a key realization that human cognition does not just work on logic, but it involves experience, not just rules. If that is the case, then intelligence cannot be regarded as pure logic. And in the 1970s, that became an obsession for a group of people that are working in this field. Why? Because they observe the failure of rigid logic because the environment can be messy. Remember you said you do this an experiment, you have to keep temperature and pressure standard to be able to have something repeated. Because if you alter the environment, the result alters. And the issue of approximation of things, or what some people call probabilities if we are in statistics. See, the probability of it raining tomorrow is 90%. So the weatherman comes up and tells you it's likely to rain tomorrow. So those were the things we had to learn in the 1970s and 1980s. And listen to what then happened with the 1990s. As soon as we hit the 1990s, we had a surge in computing power. Free computing power, someone will say. Because the cost of computing power sharply dropped. And those of you familiar with Moore's law will know that Moore was saying that every 18 months, the power of computing doubles. Power of computer doubles, the size shrinks, and therefore the price drops. That's why most of you have a contract for 18 months. So now let's look at what really happens in the 1990s when most programmers were upset with the Y2K and the world was going to end. 1999, the world will end, and therefore the world 2008, a different world. But it didn't, because we now discover what's called data-driven intelligence. So instead of your programming knowledge, you now play with things like pattern recognition. Oh, I've seen 4 before, this looks like 4. I've seen a cat before, this looks like a cat. I've seen a dog before, this looks like a dog. And that combined with statistical analysis is what's causing the excitement of like ChatGPT. And so we now have the learning algorithm, formula that is able to adapt and learn. And see what then happens. A massive shift in statistical learning, better than with human cognition. Please underline that. That's a key shift. Statistical learning now better than human cognition. And in the year 2010 upward is what I said earlier, neural network. Why? Inspired by the way the brain works. So the psychologists work, not the computer scientists. So pattern recognition, statistical model, learning, algorithm, and now formed a nice combination that gives us something totally different from what we ever thought was possible. And this is why ChatGPT became a rock star. This is what turned everything around, turned technology around, because intelligence moves from being rule-based logic to learning with data. So the more data you get, the more you do. So here was this logic on its own independent, and then we now have learning. An intersection of that led to this evolution. So learning from experience and statistical learning. So AI became powerful, very powerful, when it started learning from data and adapting like the human brain. If you want to get follow-up on our conversation, we're on Instagram, CEO Imafidon. We're on Twitter. No, we're not allowed to call it Twitter, we call it X. Chris Imafidon. We're on Facebook, Professor Chris Imafidon. We're on LinkedIn, First of all, just follow as we share this journey, extraordinary journey. So what does that matter? If you ever have an iPhone and press the main button on that, it responds to the person. And we call that Siri. So Siri, what day of the week is it today? And Siri will give you date. So this is what turned everything around. It's literally turned every single thing we knew about computing around. Because he was not acting like a human, giving you response. Then along came Cortana from Microsoft. Another iteration of what artificial intelligence. And then Alexa, most of you that have Alexa know, you speak to it as they call it intelligent speaking, right? Because you can speak to it and respond. Like speaker that just gives out and volume. And then we have assistants, Google Assistant, and the last iteration of this is Firefox or Fred. And that's it. I'm privileged to have been one of the human beings, people on planet Earth, to deploy Firefly and write a book that got stock on Amazon #1, Wall Street Journal #1, New York Times #1. They said, all of this was taught to me, but I was not expecting any human being to take this project seriously. I put there full disclosure, the first world paragraph written on artificial intelligence. I didn't write one word in this book, although they credit me with the authorship. They put my name where the author should be, but this is the truth. The whole thing was done by my entire lectures for the year, AI5. All my meetings are AI5. If you invited me for an electronic meeting right now, chances are my AI will attend. So if I have a class of 3 meetings at 9 a.m. in Monday morning, I don't send any excuse. You know, before you say you can't make an excuse, no. You send your AI instead of sending an excuse. Because you're not an excusiologist. You are not an excusiologist looking for reasons not to do things. You are ready to experiment and push the boundaries, and that's what makes you first to do it, and that's what makes you the leader. Let me show you the 3 pillars. What I made a brief reference to immediately after my introduction. Number 1 is profitability. We discussed that. Number of trillions we lose every year. The opportunity for efficiency gain, revenue model, new revenue model, create new streams of income. How it empowers people to do what they thought was once impossible. How it's able to change what we knew about the planet. So it's ecologically friendly, it's economically friendly, and you can see it's an empowering tool. So let me remind you, algorithms and statistics in the 1980s morphed into expert systems in the 1990s, and now we're hitting intelligent agents. And our paper, 2007, is one of the first ever on mobile agent. Not because we can see the future. No. Don't give us credit. We are not in any way as prophetic as that sounds. It sounds prophetic that we are not proper. We're not prophetic. We are explorers and experimenters. And that's what we're exploring today. Test the new boundaries and move things ahead. And that's the social media there again. And I'll check whether Isaac is available because we're going to close. With Q&A. This is a recap of what I've just said about our progress, my personal progress. My journey started in the mid-80s. Like I said, you got to experiment. You got to do what you did what you didn't do yesterday. You got to do what you did yesterday differently today. You got to experiment. because that was the foundation of everything we then achieved in 1988. The paper at the Queen Elizabeth II Center, the Queen Elizabeth International Conference Center up in Westminster. Still have it. To the early 90s and the work we did in Cambridge, we then defined what we did in the 80s to when we hit the buffers with Y2K, and therefore had the privilege of teaching and supervising research at Queen Mary University of London. Before then, it was St. George's, and it caught the attention of Beijing, like I said. And then you can see the landmark work we did with Adichunji, and then what then became known as the most read Cornell University put that paper up. So that is the question we're asking today. This is the main question. If we are able to answer that question, then that's right. If you are unable to answer the question, it becomes a big issue. It's a $15.7 trillion question. 40% of every accounting task that accountants used to do manually. Almost $4 trillion. That's the AI opportunity in the finance sector alone. And when you look at globally, 800 million. So those that say that AI will take away jobs, look at that. Those of you can see that poster there. It's called crypto accountants. Before blockchain, we never had anything. Of course, it's going to disrupt and make things more efficient. So you got to understand it, adapt it, and leverage it. Be able to make all you could make and all you couldn't make. Let's try our synopsis again. Let's ask Firefly whether they can give us a synopsis. Hey, Fireflies. Give us a summary of this last half of the class.
Prof. Imafidon traced AI evolution from rule-based logic to data-driven learning to neural networks. He showcased applications like ChatGPT and Alexa, shared his journey deploying AI since the mid-80s, and explained how he wrote a book entirely using AI. Key themes included 3 pillars of AI impact: profitability, efficiency, and empowerment, with significant economic opportunities globally.
Okay, hey, Fireflies. Give us the summary, please, would you? In Portuguese, as spoken by the people of Brazil. Thank you.
Professor Imafidon traçou a evolução da IA de lógica baseada em regras para aprendizagem orientada por dados a redes neurais. Ele mostrou aplicações como ChatGPT e Alexa, compartilhou sua jornada implantando IA desde meados dos anos 80 e explicou como escreveu um livro inteiramente usando a IA. Os temas principais incluíram 3 pilares do impacto da IA: lucratividade, eficiência e capacitação, com oportunidades econômicas significativas globalmente.
So you can see live what this new tool is able to do. So I'm going to whisk through the last remaining slides so that everybody that is on us, that is with us today, understands one fact. The people will be affected by your use or inability to use AI. Your profits will be affected by whether or not you there, and the client will be affected. So tell us your priority and see how AI can be deployed. And as I don't, we welcome what you have to say. And we're going to discuss easy things that if you're an accountant, for instance, we're going to look at automated bookkeeping, we're going to look at predictive analysis, you'll be able to work on things that once thought was impossible. Regulatory compliance, meeting intelligence, client advisory, layout, and then you can pick up any fraudulent act thanks to the power of this new tool. So, in closing, we have access on offering this before you make any comments about them. We're offering to you to work smarter, to grow faster. We need you to stay compliant. We need you to go sustainable. We need you to think bigger. And we need you to understand collaborative freedom. That's what Accenture stands for. And that's what you stand to be. And the graphics tells a better story. Planet, people, profit. That's our colorful QR code. You can scan the QR code, please. In order to get us and to encourage you to take action, we're offering 21% off. Anyone that says yes today, because with great data comes great responsibility. We show you this, and we're telling you, you are leading the world. You have the world in front of you. We will share resources and books with you. We will share webinars with you. And remember, all that we do, the entire role in terms of our publication, goes directly to charities like this, like the King's Charity. So if you have any questions, we're going to be able to deal with questions. So can AI make you, or you're trying to be the question? Every wealth creation in history was driven by those who understood technology first. Look at steam engine, look at electricity, and AI happens to be the next wave. In the steam era, we had Brunel, we had Stevenson. Again, with the infrastructure. In fact, infrastructure builders became the wealthiest people in the world. Then we have a Tesla, Edison. Those that looked at energy and how energy is moving to shape the world. The internet, arguably, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, a visionary. So the thing I'm going to ask you, are you part of the AR vision? Will that be you? We have accountants, lawyers, engineers, advisors to define the next wave. And we are able. I know we are able. I know we are able to do it. I know we can really do it. What is left for me now to say thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. And thank you for interjections. And I want to take questions from the room. And before that, before I take questions from the room, I want to take comments from Twitter Spaces. I think they call it X Spaces now. I want to take questions from those of you on Clubhouse. If you're on Instagram, I want to be able to take it from you because I need everyone to interact. Doesn't matter. Your physical presence is not as important as your one-stop. So we're going to look at this and review comments with you here with using old technology or physical, or some of our physicality. So thank you very much for being part of today's event, and thank Azu for putting everything together. I'm extremely proud of you, Azu. And those of you that are on the internet that want free tickets, you know what to do. Just type yes on the comment section, and we're able to do that for you. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you today, and I look forward to seeing you some other time. We had over 1,000 people online that joined us on different platforms. So it's incredible. Thank you very much. We were able to connect with Isaac Odutor. Yes. And now, those of you on YouTube, you see hanging on with us, we'll see what happens. Let's just ask, hey, Fireflies, would you like to summarize to us what we discussed today? Thank you.
Prof. Imafidon discussed AI as a general-purpose leadership tool worth $15.7 trillion globally. Key topics included transcription technology, Keith.ai, AI governance, 3 pillars of impact, and evolution from rule-based logic to neural networks. He demonstrated multi-language summaries, shared his 4-decade AI journey, showcased ChatGPT and Alexa applications, and invited all to join the AI revolution at acetone.ai with special offers available.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I will see you when I see you. Bless you.